Hello and welcome back to Treetop Health and, of course, Project Hospital. Now, where we last left off, we have our orthopedic department all set up and running. We also have the ICU down here. Today's episode, we are going to be focusing on getting a surgical suite built out for this department specifically and moving on from there. But before we get too far into that, there are a couple of changes that I would like to make here. So you can see at the moment, we don't even have our lines lined up with our doors, but I would also like to add a couple of more doors to this area. So which doors are we using here? These ones here. I would like to add a door on either side of this just because they can't actually get through the middle here. So I feel like that is probably a decent idea. And then we're going to go in with our floors now that all our doors are in the correct positions, and make sure that these all line up nicely. So we'll go ahead and grab our line and go ahead and fix all of these lines up. I'm just going to remove all of them and then place back in the gaps. That is not where I wanted that to go. That will go in there, 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 and there. So that should be better. I imagine we're going to have to fill this up with beds relatively quickly, but that is okay. There are also a couple of other things that we needed to go ahead and fix. Mainly in this whole section, I forgot to add in any stretchers. So we are going to do that so that our patients can actually get transported around. And I prefer these ones just based on the looks of them. I don't think we'll need too many, but we'll throw some on either side of this just to make sure that everything is good and ready to run. We'll also go ahead and grab ourselves some wheelchairs right next to the stretchers so that we definitely know that we have enough. I put that on that side and right there. These ones don't work. Okay, you can move to there and you can move to there. And that should be all good and ready to go. 6 stretchers, 6 wheelchairs. The only thing we need to make sure that we do, which I also didn't do, is assign corridors down here, because currently these aren't assigned to anyone, so no one is going to be cleaning them. So in terms of this one, this is the orthopedic department. This needs to be assigned to them, just to make sure that we are actually cleaning these areas, because beforehand we were not. And then we need to do the exact same thing for the ICU. Grab some corridors in here and make sure we are cleaning it. And speaking of cleaning it, the ICU currently doesn't have any cleaning stations. I completely forgot to add that in, and that is my bad. But we can fix that nice and quickly with our little prefab, which aren't loaded because I did a full reset on my PC. So for those of you who don't know, I've been having some trouble with my PC. I just upgraded my my PSU in hopes that that would solve the problem. That is in fact not the case. It did not solve the problem. It looked like it did for the first couple of days, and then it just gave up. So that is what it is. It's a little bit unfortunate. I think we'll end up putting this down here. Will be absolutely fine. If we can line it up with that wall, that would make me a little bit happier. That is going to float. That is going to be over the edge of this, but that is fine. We will eventually be building something down here, so I'm not too concerned about that. But that will go ahead and give our ICU a cleaner so that they can actually clean up in here. Even though no one's really using it, it's still a good idea to have a cleaner in. So Karen White and someone else, let's go for you. Or not too bad. You're a little bit expensive, but you'll do the job. You're a night owl. Sarah Davis, you are officially in. And speaking of naming people, we need to go ahead and name some employees. So I think the best way to do this, so for those of you who aren't aware, aren't on the Discord, we've recently updated the Golden Panda perk to be, if you are a Golden Panda on the channel, supporting the channel as a member at that level, you'll be put into the game. So I'm thinking, because we don't have too many to do just yet, I'm going to make you guys department heads where I can. So we currently don't have a chief doctor in our intensive care unit. What staff do we have in there? We have Lisa King and Susan Robinson, You are not particularly good, and you are not particularly good. I think, you know what we're going to do? We're going to hire a new doctor for our ICU. I know they're not going to really be used that much. I also don't know why these are suddenly white. They used to be colored, and I'm concerned about it. But we're going to hire a lead doctor for this, and we're going to rename them to be one of our members. So I'll go ahead and try and find someone with the good boss trait, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, after clicking around a little bit, I can't find anyone, so we are just going to go ahead and make them. I'm just going to pull up the list of my members real quick and be back in a sec. All right, I have my list up. This is going to be a male doctor. If we can just randomize a couple of times until we find that. Their name is going to be Anders Osthus. I apologize for butchering that name. And that needs to be your first name and Osthus. And this needs to have an S on it. Oh, goodness gracious. Anders Osthus. You are going to be early bird with good boss. Where is the good boss trait? Can I not give them good boss? Is that not a thing that I can give them? Good boss is not in that list. Okay, it looks like maybe they can't be an intern for that to happen. You know why I'm not finding any good bosses? It's because I'm trying to hire a nurse. Let's try that again. Oh, you guys were probably screaming at me in the comments there. Here we go. We have a good boss here. They are female, which is not what I want. So that's unfortunate. But we have, you're depressed. I don't want you. Can we just make one? Yeah, let's just make one. So you're going to be a good boss, and you can be a scholar. Why not? You'll study up over time. And for your traits, I think we're going to give you fresh parent. Why not? And we'll go ahead and oh, of course that removes my traits. Go ahead and randomize a couple of times, get those traits back in, scholar and fresh parent. You are going to be Anders, two different things, Osthus. And once again, I apologize for butchering your name, but you are officially in, and you are the head of our intensive care unit. I can probably go ahead and remove this person, but I'm going to leave them there because I have a feeling we are going to get a little bit busier in the ICU once this department is opened up. In terms of other departments that we can assign people to, we can of course go ahead and assign someone to the orthopedic section. We'll also get Richard Moore can probably just be renamed if we can find him in the list with staff. Okay, apparently I can't open that from here. That was Richard Moore, I believe. Yes. So Richard Moore is going to be edited, and you will be Hilarious Echo. And again, I apologize for butchering your name if I did. So you are the head of our sexual health department. I am currently the head of emergency, but we are going to change that because I need another 2 people in. So we'll have a head of emergency and a head of orthopedic, and that should be good. So ChubbyPanda is going to be renamed to Sunset Puma. Welcome to the head of the emergency department. And then once we go ahead and hire ourselves some doctors for our orthopedic department, we'll go ahead and throw in our last golden panda, who actually suggested the idea. So I apologize for keeping you for last, but you were the last one to become a golden panda. So that is how I'm going through that list. In future, we might randomize it, but that is how it's going to work for now. The next issue that we need to address is our pharmacy, because I forgot to make these back into their actual rooms. So this is our pharmacy, and this is our gift shop. And we currently don't have any people assigned to those departments. We can go ahead and open up the staff tree in this department and assign them. So Judy Anderson, you are going to be assigned down here, and Barbara King, You are assigned in there. I don't know why it's showing, it looks like researchers, but I don't know. I don't know why they are researchers. Something's a little bit weird with my game with these icons being white. I remember them being blue, but potentially it's because I haven't unpaused the game. I'm not 100% sure. But I believe that is all of the fixes we need to make. I am going to now jump in and build ourselves out a surgery suite for down here, and we'll be back in a little bit. So that is everything we need for the surgical suite itself. And I'm keeping this nice and small because I would like some on-call rooms down the end here. I just don't know how big this needs to be just yet. In terms of separating this out, we still need scrubbing stations, but I'm going to put that in its own little area. So we're going to have an isolation door for this. And I believe this is the way that I probably... no, let's go for this way, I think. I'm not actually sure which way this should go. I'm going to throw it in this way, and if it's wrong, please let me know in the comments, because it very well might be. But I'm going to throw that in there, and I believe there is an AC unit for this as well. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to find. The AC unit can go there, and we'll have a normal isolation wall in through there so that we can see through just a little bit. And that will be the operating theater. In terms of anything else we might want to put in here, I feel like the biohazard bin probably wouldn't be in this room. I don't think it would be in here, so I'm not going to add it in. But we can potentially put something else in here. Does the glassware sit on that? No, it does not. Glassware small. Well, we can throw that in as a little bit of decoration. Why not? And then maybe throw in a clock up on the wall somewhere. I wish I could put it up there. That would be nice. Throw the clock up in there. First aid kit? Sure, why not? Throw one of those on the wall. I feel like we probably wouldn't have a floor lamp in here, so we're not going to put it in. We can potentially put up a couple of posters though, maybe a mask poster. Seems like a decent idea, and someone can remind our doctors what a spine looks like and tennis elbow. Why not? Just to get a little bit of nice things in here. Next up, we need to go ahead and do our scrubbing stations. We need 3 of these, so we'll throw them not there because that blocks that window. Okay, go to... maybe we could go 3 along that wall. That'll be fine. And then we need some scrubs shelves, and we can throw them right across there. I feel like potentially we could add a stretcher in the middle of this room, but I don't think we will. I think we'll add that out in the hallway. Anything else that we kind of need in here? I wouldn't mind having maybe a table or 2 in the middle, but I'm not sure what type I would like. Maybe a stainless steel stand or 2. I don't know what purpose they would serve, but maybe people can like put their stuff on them while they're getting ready. Maybe we could have some glassware on one of them just to pretty up a little bit, and that should be good. And then we can jump in here and grab ourselves the on-call rooms for Orthopedic. And we're going to have an on-call room. How much room do we have here? If we put the wall there... that gives us 9. So let's put the wall 1 back. Maybe add another set of scrubbing stations there and another set of scrubs there, because there are actually 5 people in surgery, not 3. So I feel like that's reasonable. This isn't going to work with the way that I wanted to do my hallway though. Let's get rid of the extra scrub station, scrub station, and we'll move that. So that'll be fine. And then we can go in here, make sure we're in Orthopedic, grab ourselves our on-call room. That is going to be 4x4. And our nurses station, which is also going to be 4x4. And that's not accessible, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and throw in some more walls and doors. So these guys are going to have clean walls in there. Actually, you know what? Let's give them a little bit of nicety and do that instead. Give them some nice floorboards. And then in terms of doors, we're going to have a double glass door there. And that'll be okay. Do I want to make this a hallway or do I want to make this part of the surgical suite? I think I want to make this part of the hallway. So we'll add in another wall there. And I think that will work out better. So we'll go like so and like so, just to make sure that they are the same. And double glass door into there. And then we can have a glass door go in through there and through there. And that'll work out quite nicely. Now we just need to finish out these rooms. And once I've done that, we'll be back to go ahead and hire everyone, I believe. So that will be fantastic. All right, they are all built up. The only thing left to add now is a stretcher for the hallway. We'll go ahead and add 2 of those for the moment, and potentially also a wheelchair on either side of the door, just to make sure that we definitely have enough stuff. This is all still part of the orthopedic department, so with all of the stretchers and wheelchairs around the place, we should be more than okay. If we jump back in here, we definitely have everything we need. I did not mean to pick up that poster. I wanted to click on the room. Everything we need is in that room as well, and that room. So they should all be working quite nicely. Next thing we need to do is go ahead and hire some people. Before we do that though, I am noticing one more thing that I wanted to change. And that is, I did a little bit of playtesting. I played a little bit further into the game, and I realized we really don't need this 3rd doctor's office or this 3rd diagnostic room. So I'm going to move this diagnostic room over to here, and then we will save this room here for an MRI scanner. So we'll go ahead and do that really quite quickly. We can do that simply by going to the prefabs, going to move area or selected room, and that can all just move straight over to there. And then remove this wall and remove this door. Jump in here, go to our radiology department, and this is going to be, I believe it's MRI that I wanted. That is going to be an MRI room, just so that we remember that in the future. I will go ahead and just double ensure that I remember that in the future by adding ourselves the black floor that this room would have, if it would allow me to do so. And going ahead and adding the black walls that would also end up adding in here eventually anyway. So that should be good. Now I'm going to go through the somewhat painful process of hiring everyone for this department. The first person we are going to hire is going to be our head doctor. Now, I feel like we should maybe make our head doctor one of our surgeons. And let's go ahead and do that. So you are going to be our surgeon. You're going to have Orthopedics Surgery. We are not looking for a night owl in this case. So we'll go ahead and refresh that and try and find someone with a good boss. Ideally, that is not an alcoholic. We really want a fantastic candidate for this specific job. So I'm happy to search around a little bit. Looks like Daniel Hill might be it. 76% in general medicine, 86% in orthopedic, 81% in diagnostics, 27% in surgery. So not the best surgeon in the world, but I think they will do the job. So Daniel Hill, you are going to be our chief doctor. We're going to bring up that, and we are going to rename you to our final Golden Panda member, which is Reefing Medic. Been a huge help on this series so far, given me a lot of information that I definitely needed to know. So you are officially in as the leader of our orthopedic department. I believe it was also you who suggested that we start with an orthopedic department, so that seems only fitting. I'm going to jump into a quick little time lapse as I hire out the rest of our teams. I don't know how many people I'm going to hire in here just yet, but in terms of our surgery people, these guys are going to, yeah, I know it's not working. These guys are going to be dedicated as a surgery team only. So we're going to get an anesthesiologist in here as well. And I don't mind spending more on these people. I know I just said that I was going to go into a time lapse, but I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So Dana Miller, you are going to be only doing anesthesiology in surgery. You're not going to be diagnosing or assisting. And our last person is going to be just a general surgery assistant. So they don't need to be as good. I meant to click the reveal hidden perks button, but I missed. We've got, you're not too bad. Frank Davis, you are a diagnostic genius and a slow learner. I think you'll do just fine for $447 a day, and your only job is to assist in surgery. We're going to do the exact same thing with the nurses. These are going to be surgery nurses. I don't think these guys need to be particularly amazing, so I think Brooke Rodriguez is going to be in. You're not going to do patient care or patient transfers, and we'll go ahead and hire someone a little bit more qualified in potentially, yeah, one of these two. Do I want to pay $332 for a nurse, though? Probably. I think the answer is yes. So Karen Wright, you are officially the second nurse on that team. And they will be dedicated to doing surgery only, just so that we always have a team available. I'm feeling like we probably will also have to add a night team to this, but we'll get there when we get there. Next step is going to be going ahead and adding all of our on-call rooms for the rest of our orthopedic department. So we'll be back in a little bit. So that is all of the doctors and nurses I'm going to hire for just now. We're going to see how it goes. We have 3 dedicated patient transfer nurses day and night, and we have 2 patient care nurses during the day, 1 at night. We also have 2 doctors specializing in advanced diagnostics during the day and 1 at night. So that should be good. The only thing left to do is go ahead and hire our receptionist. And that is going to be maybe you. Yep, Joseph Brown, you are officially our receptionist. And go ahead and hire some doctors for this department as well. I'm going to try and give these guys all, well, will I? They're expensive. I don't think we'll give these guys advanced diagnostics just because they do cost a lot more money. So we'll go ahead and try and find someone a little bit cheaper than those guys. They were all a little bit ridiculous. You're depressed. You're unpleasant. Next, please. Yep, you'll do. We have 42% with Sarah Hill. You are our daytime doctor for the moment. And then we can go ahead and add Carol Johnson down here. We can click on her card because she's not going to be doing anesthesiology. She can change that to advanced diagnostics and she'll slowly level that up over time. She doesn't have one yet, so that is fine. And then I'm going to hire another doctor for during the day. Ideally, someone a little bit cheaper than those guys. You're a drunk, but you're not too bad. Elizabeth Green, you are officially hired as our second daytime doctor. We also need to hire someone for the sonography room, so we'll go ahead and do that. That is USG. And honestly, Susan White and Barbara Robinson, you are both hired for that role. Then we need to get our cleaners, so you will do and you will do. And I believe that is all the hiring we need to do. I'm just going to run through our departments real quick to make sure, because yep, I forgot to put an x-ray tech up here. 34% is not too bad. I think we can definitely, you're expensive though. I wouldn't mind having someone fast in this role. Like you, for example. You're only 12%, but you are quick. And you will only deal with hospitalized patients. And we'll grab one for nighttime as well. I'm not 100% sure if we actually need this second x-ray room, but it's there in case this becomes critical. Hopefully it doesn't. And honestly, Linda Williams, you are pretty good as well. We'll run through the rest, make sure that we've got people working everywhere we need them to be. This is not orthopedic. This should be this. So we need a cleaning closet in here. Employee has no workspace. Okay. You can go in there then. And you can go, nope, that's a different person. Who is the nighttime one? You? Do we have janitors in here somewhere? Where are you all located? And do you have a job? You are going home. I don't know how to tell which one it is. It should bring up a message for us at some point saying that we don't have a person. If we expand this, oh, we go. I believe it's you. So you are now assigned to that, and that should be good. So ICU is good. This is good. We've got cleaners up there still. Perfect. 2 doctors during the day, 1 at night. Everything looking good there. Sexual health clinic should be more than okay. I think we're good. We reassigned them. Did we add a lounge up here? We did. It's potentially an idea to go ahead and hire someone to work in the gift shop. I don't know how much money it will make, but we can keep an eye on it. Gift shop vendor 39%, and you are loyal. $207 a day. You are officially hired. And I believe with that all said and done, we can go ahead and run the game and start getting patients in here. Because we also now have this department up and running, you can see we are finally getting ambulances to deliver us patients. We can purchase 5 ambulances to get quick snap care. I don't know if I want to do that just yet. I want to see how we can handle this workload before we get too far into that. So without further ado, let's unpause the game and see if we can get our first patient to come in. So we're going to continue training these guys down in the training room in our sexual health clinic. That will be fine. Our objectives currently are treat 90 patients per day, which we can actually achieve very, very soon. That might happen tomorrow. We need to save a patient after 1 collapse. That is going to be hard. And we might have to break some HIPAA laws and maybe just ignore a patient until they go into collapse to get that done, because we do have the realistic collapses mod installed, which means patients don't just randomly collapse all over your hospital all at once. So that is a thing to keep in mind. And we also have to perform 1 surgery, which should happen nice and quickly now that we have this department up and running. And we have our first ambulance going out for the day. Let's go ahead and turn the volume down in my ears so that we don't have to listen to that. You are just going to your chair. Okay, that ambulance didn't drop off anything. No rooms with critical workload, which is fantastic to see. We do need to go ahead and pay down some of this loan though. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm not going to pay it down completely. I want to save $25,000 just in case we need it. But we do have our first ambulance patient. Let's go ahead and follow her and see how this goes. Patricia Clark is coming in with either an open fracture of her femur, an open fracture of her tibia, or a complicated fracture of her femur. So I imagine she's going to be sent for an x-ray relatively quickly. She does have a hemorrhage. So this is where we have to make the decision. Do we want to treat this patient? Or do we want to let them collapse and then save them? And I think the answer is going to be, we're going to let her collapse and then save her. We can't diagnose a patient. Let's have a look at that. So what is going on with you? You could be emergency. So that's good to know. You either have a beef tapeworm or iron deficiency anemia. What tests can we run? We've currently run all the tests that we possibly can. You are in observation. Why can't we determine what is wrong with you? This is all a stool analysis would be helpful here. Stool collecting can be ordered at internal medicine. Okay, we should be able to do that if they are hospitalized. So they should go into hospital at some point soon here. And then we should be able to collect that, I believe. I believe that's how that works. But no, they're just getting transported away. Okay, guess we can't diagnose them. That is a-okay. Sometimes you have to send a patient away. Procedures have finished for... it automatically ordered anti-hemorrhagics. So, okay, I guess we're just treating you normally then. And potentially the next patient that comes in You don't have any hemorrhages, so you won't actually die or collapse. So we can't do it with you, but we'll keep an eye out. And once we get a patient in, I will cancel their active treatments before sending them into the trauma bay. And that should help out. But we can still follow Patricia Clark along. She's being sent for an x-ray at the moment. She will be x-rayed in the trauma center x-ray station. That should determine what her problem is. And that should, in theory, get her transferred to the orthopedic department as soon as she gets put in here. We are doing some emergency care, and yeah, she's going to be transported to our HDU, high dependency unit in orthopedic. So that is interesting to see, and the fix for that is a fracture surgery of the leg. We can actually check on our current surgeries if we go into orthopedic and our managed plan surgeries at the active department. Currently none are scheduled, but we should see that change very, very quickly. Training has finished for someone. That is fine. We can go ahead and train you up. And you can see our beds are going to fill up somewhat quickly here, I imagine. Continue with this training. You can't be treated. Why not? Fracture surgery leg. Staff busy. Necessary equipment unavailable. Okay, let's pause the game and make sure everything is set up right here. We have a wall there. We should not have a wall there. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that should not be a wall. This should be open, and that is now working. Okay, perfect. Now if we jump into here and, nope, not planned surgeries, we need to find Patricia Clark. Now she's scheduled, and now once we open this up, you can see that she is scheduled for a surgery. Unfortunately, our surgery team is at home sleeping, so she should go into surgery in the morning. But until then, I think we will go ahead and fast forward through this. Okay, we have another patient coming in. Scratch that mission before. We are going to cancel that, control you by the player, and we are going to wait for you to collapse. But we will continue to keep an eye on Patricia Clark up here and make sure that her surgery goes nice and good. So you've been stabilized. That is more than okay. We can probably also send you for an x-ray. We'll get an interview and a physical examination as well. None of that is going to treat you and stop you from hemorrhaging until you collapse. I apologize to all the doctors out there. I know, do no harm, but we're going to save them. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I promise. We'll keep an eye on Peter Davis here. Make sure that he is okay. We uncovered a symptom. You definitely have an open fracture of the labia, or of the tibia, I should say. Libya. And that'll be fine. But you can see our beds are already filling up here. We have 3 out of 4 HDU beds full. Procedures have finished. That is okay. We could go ahead and send them straight to the ICU because we know they are going to collapse, but I'm going to give them a minute. They can just, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. They can go up to the ICU to be prepared for when they collapse. We can immediately resuscitate them. The things you do in video games. It's going to be fine. All right, so it is now 7 a.m. You're finished with that. You still have a hemorrhage, which is good for us, not great for you. And our surgery department should, in theory, start working on getting these surgeries out of the way. It looks like we only have 1 for now, but that is fine. Soon, they should start preparing for that and get on with it. So we'll skip ahead a little bit until they are ready to do that. All right, Peter Davis is officially collapsing. We can now go ahead and treat him. I apologize for that. I'm going to give him anti-hemorrhage, that word, and then put him back in control of our doctors so that they can save him appropriately. That officially completes that objective. Our next 1 intern available for hire will be a great candidate. That is fantastic to see. The next job on that list is to reach 80% prestige at the end of the day at emergency. That is already done. We're at 100% prestige in all of our departments so far. So that should just sort itself out. We can now stop watching Peter Davis. Hopefully he is good to go. We have a complicated diagnosis here. I think I'll probably just end up letting the doctor try here because it could be basically anything. And I don't have the time for it. But we see our nurses are now scrubbing in. We have Patricia Clark coming in for her surgery. She's going to pay us $2,500 for this surgery as soon as she is all up and ready to go. I don't know where my other doctors are. There we go. Now they're all in and we are performing our first surgery. We have another complicated diagnosis. We're just going to let them try. That'll be fine. Surgery shouldn't take too long. We do have another one queued up with Peter Davis. No clear diagnosis. It's going to be influenza B. We'll go ahead and give you everything you need. And who's in here? Patricia? Yep. Her surgery looks like it's going well. We're going to let the doctor try with that one. I'm sure it'll be fine. My doctors are smart. And see how this goes. All right. We have officially completed our first surgery. That gives us a $50,000 government grant. Our next job is to reach 80% at any specialized department, which we already have. So that should complete at the end of the day as well. We now have a long wait for beds in our HDU hospitalization in Orthopedic. So we're going to go into build mode and build this out a little bit more. We're going to grab our prefab here and just copy these across and basically fill up the entire department with beds. We can probably wait a little bit on the other section over here. This one currently only has 2 beds being used, whereas this has all 4. That is somewhat expensive. We do need to just make sure we go ahead and rotate the camera and fix the wall that gets broken when we copy these over. So that'll go back into there. And now we have space for 10 patients in our HDU, which is good to see. That should help with that. We're going to let the doctor try there. And we're basically just going to let the game run for a little bit. I'm going to pay down some of my loan again with that grant that we got. We're hoping to treat 90 patients today. And we should also complete these other 2 as well. So we'll get 1 intern available for hire will be a great candidate, a $50,000 government grant, and a $50,000 government grant, which will help us pay down this loan just a little bit. Also having the surgery department in orthopedics will give us a little bit more cash as well. If we jump into our patient list for orthopedic, you can see that some of the payments are close to $3,000 and they're not too bad. So hopefully that will help stabilize the hospital and make us a little bit more money in order to get our next department up and running. So we're going to jump into a time lapse as our doctors do their thing and come back probably at the end of the day once these missions complete themselves. So we'll be back. All right, we've got our workload statistics for the end of the day. And we do have 2 rooms with critical workload. So we're going to just jump in and see where that problem lies. Emergency is doing fine. Radiology is where it is critical. And you can see that is in our x-ray room. So I was right in needing a second one. But where else are they struggling? Those ones are fine. It could be, yeah, it's down here. This one is for the trauma bay and down here. I'm hoping that I don't need to add an extra one here. For right now, I'll just add one up here, see if that fixes the problem. And if it doesn't, then we will go from there. So I'm going to jump into a time lapse as I get this x-ray room built out. And we might need to take out another bit of a loan. So we're up to $280,000 there, and we'll get these built out. But right now, I think I'm just going to hire the 1 person during the day. The workload at night is high, but for right now, it's not doing too bad. This is going to be for hospitalized patients only. I believe this is also hospitalized patients only, and our other people go down here. These ones are chugging along just fine though, so we're not too concerned about that. The only thing that I should probably do here is go ahead and move Carol Taylor over to here so that she's working a little bit closer to that waiting area, and that should be okay. So we're going to let this run until midnight, where these should hopefully complete. We're also very close to getting 90 patients in the day, so that should be good, and we'll be back in a little bit. We need 2 more patients to be treated in this last hour and we'll be okay, but I don't know if we're actually going to get there. It's going to be very, very close. Half an hour to go. 1 more patient needs to be treated. Come on. In the last 5 minutes? We're not going to get there. Nope, we didn't get there. 89 patients in the day. We didn't get it. But we did reach 80% prestige in emergency, $50,000 government grant, and 80% prestige in a specialized department with another $50,000 government grant. We also completed another objective that we didn't actually know we had, which was treat 10 patients per day at any specialized department, and that increases our clinic patients per day sent by this insurance company to 20. So that is fantastic. And another one, reach 90% prestige at any specialized department. Next intern is going to be great. And we have some daily news. New public health policy causes 30% higher insurance payments. Always nice to see. We now have $115,000 in the bank. We have an objective here to purchase 3 ambulances, which will increase our ambulance patients per day to 3. We could probably go ahead and do that, although I am scared to get a few more ambulance patients. We might have to update the trauma bay at some point soon here. What else do we need to do? Treat 90 patients. That should be done today because we're getting 100 patients through the door, and perform 10 surgeries. That will happen over time. I think, you know what? Let's go ahead and grab that 3rd ambulance and just see how that goes. I also realized after I built this design that we can't actually place ambulances in this one. It's only the most recent one you place. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we now have increased ambulant patients per day to 3. And we just need to treat 30 patients per day at emergency for a little boost to our clinic patients. And that should be good. So we have 103 people coming in today. I'll probably mostly skip through this day. And we'll come back probably around midnight once some more of these objectives have been completed. We are going to, of course, continue paying down our loan as much as possible, leaving around $20,000 in the bank just for training and things like that. But yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. Oh, sorry. Before we jump into the time lapse, we should actually have a look at our budget and see how we did yesterday, especially in the orthopedic department. You can see here we only made $317. That is pretty normal when you open up a brand new department, because a lot of the people who are hospitalized in that department, if we jump into that department and look at our hospitalized patients, these guys are the ones that are going to be paying us the most money, and they generally need a day or 2 to recover in observation in the high dependency unit or the regular ward. And once they leave, they will give us some money, and this number should increase pretty dramatically. Our sexual health clinic really isn't making very much money. It looks like we are making some money on the pharmacy. I don't know if we're getting any gift shop people in. I think that is what we might focus on today as we jump through this time lapse. Just make sure that, or double check, see if people are actually using the gift shop and if I have it set up correctly. So we'll jump into this time lapse and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so it looks like our gift shop is working, but it doesn't work the way that I thought it did. Turns out our gift shop attendant actually goes and grabs the things for the customer. I assumed that the customer would browse the items, bring them up to the attendant, and then buy them. That's not how it works at all. So I'm going to jump into build mode and reorganize this a little bit, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so I can't actually move this just yet because we do have the guy working on it, but what we can do is reassign him to the other one. And then once we jump back into build mode, we should be able to move that with no problems whatsoever. As soon as we unpause and he moves seats, we should now be able to also move that seat, and we can throw these back in like so. I think I would also maybe like to have an extra set of balloons, just because we can. And that should work out a little bit better. He should now not have to come around to the front yeah, he can just grab the things and give them to our patients or our visitors. So that is good. We also have long wait for bed in the regular hospitalization in orthopedics. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, add the rest of the beds in here and go ahead and fill this department out completely. So that is not where I wanted that to go. We'll go in there, there, and there. That should be good. As soon as we rotate this wall around, grab the normal wall that we want in there and place that back in. That should be good to go. We should now have all of the hospitalization we need, and the gift shop is now working a little bit more efficiently. We only have the one staff on there for the moment, but that seems to be enough. We will keep an eye on it just to make sure. And if we see people queuing up for too long, like they are here at reception, we might go ahead and hire an extra person. So pharmacy, you are good to go there. And that should just help reduce this queue a little bit. So we'll jump back into the time lapse and we'll come back around midnight. Before we do, we did have one of our things be met. I think it was treat 30 patients in emergency. That is done. We now need to reach 90% at the end of the day, which we will absolutely do. So we'll come back around midnight. All right, our workload statistics have come in and we have 3 rooms now with critical workload. It's saying that we have critical workload in the pharmacy. That should resolve itself because we did hire that 3rd pharmacist, I hope. And we still have 2 in the radiology department. These ones are fine. That one is high, which is fine. And these are both critical. I honestly don't think that that's true. That might be a problem that we're having because we don't have enough patient transfer nurses, rather than the fact that these are actually critical. I think that is something we can safely ignore, but please let me know if I am wrong in the comments. We've also treated 90 patients per day. Our next intern will be fantastic. Our next goal is to treat 100, which we might be able to do by the end of the day, but I doubt it. That'll give us a $100,000 government grant. Reaching 90% prestige at the end of the day will also give us a $100,000 government grant, which is fantastic to see. That should help us pay down this debt just that little bit more. So we'll run this to midnight and come back then. This is a problem we're going to face every now and then. Long wait for HDU hospitalization. These guys are probably pretty much all set and ready to go. If we jump into orthopedic here, see all these beds are full. But if we actually look at our patients here that are hospitalized, you can see she's had her surgery. You haven't, oh, you're not in the hospital. Move this over a little bit more. You are in the hospital, but you're in normal hospitalization, I think. I don't know why you're taking so long. You must be fresh. Dana here has had her surgery. You have had your surgery cancelled. Let's reschedule that, please. Karen here, Boston Brace, you're set. So a lot of these guys are just waiting to leave. There is a thing in the game settings in the tweakables folder which allows people to leave at any day or night, rather than only being able to leave during daytime hours. I'm not going to change that for this playthrough unless you guys really want me to. This is just a problem we're going to have until we start building out some more specialized departments so that the load is spread a little bit more evenly. For now, we sort of just have to say, sorry, but you've got to go home. We can't treat you right now. We're at capacity. That is what it is. And yeah, so we're going to jump through till midnight and come back at that point. Okay, we're starting to get people complaining about a long wait for treatment. And that is because, that's not what I wanted to click. That is because we don't have a surgery team at night. And I'm thinking we probably should go ahead and hire one. We currently have 4 surgeries lined up, and that is probably more than I would like to have lined up at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and hire a secondary surgery team for nighttime, and we'll be back once I've done that. Alright, so they are officially hired. They should come in pretty much immediately and start prepping for surgery, which is great to see. That will help us get through that list a little bit quicker. We are in the red. We're not going to worry about training him. Well, we can. We'll take out another bit of a loan, $220,000. It'll be fine. And let that run. And I'll see you at midnight. All right, it is midnight. We only managed to treat 93 patients out of the 100 we needed for that, but we did reach 90% prestige at the end of the day at emergency, giving us a nice $100,000 grant, and that is fantastic. We're also at 8 out of 10 surgeries. We've completed all of the objectives for cheapo care. That is great to see. The next thing we could potentially look at doing is purchasing 5 ambulances to get quick snap care up and running. 9 fully working departments is still a little bit away. It doesn't count things like, I'm not actually sure, but in my testing, I built another department which gives me like 9 things lit up down here, and it didn't count. So I think that needs to be like actual departments. Open infectious disease and traumatology. I don't think we're quite there yet. But we are slowly but surely getting there. I think I'm going to let this run until we have the 10 surgeries complete, and then we might leave it there. We're going to go ahead and continue to pay down this loan as much as we humanly can. We're only up at $120,000 now. Let's just check on our budget for yesterday. It should look a little bit healthier than the day before, making a nice $38,000 over the 12. We're still not at full capacity for our orthopedic department. It made 13 grand yesterday. It should be churning out a little bit more than that once it's been up and running for a few more days. So that is good to see. But yeah, I'm going to let this run until we've performed our 10 out of 10 surgeries, and then I think we'll leave the episode there. Please do go down to the comments while we are waiting for this to complete, and let me know what department we should build next. In my testing, I built the general surgery department, and I had some issues. Mainly with, I believe it was the urology and nephrology department had some people sent to the general surgery department, and I couldn't do the surgeries because I haven't got the department yet, and I'm not 100% sure what to do about that. Potentially building that first is a good idea. I believe it was that. I believe it was urology and nephrology, so maybe we should actually start there. The other department that I'm thinking about building is the plastic surgery, but they don't really have that much throughput, and it's still quite expensive to get up and running. So please do let me know in the comments what department we should go ahead and build next. And yeah, also it looks like my settings have changed since I did a clean install. I'll have to go through them and make sure that that is all good to go. 10 surgeries is complete. Increase clinic patients per day to 25. The next goal there is 95% at any specialized department. That's going to give us $200,000, which will allow us to fully pay down that loan. So I might actually wait until we get that complete, and then I'll call the episode there. So we'll jump into a quick little time lapse as we go through this day, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, we do have a critical workload in our x-ray room at night, so we'll go ahead and hire someone for the other room here. That'll be absolutely fine. We can have Dana Cole in there, and that should be good. And we'll jump back into the time lapse. And you can see as the game conveniently paused, all of the patients basically in our high dependency unit for orthopedic have gone home and given us a buttload of money. So that is great to see. See, we just got $35,000 from all of those patients leaving. It's also saying that the pharmacy is too small. It really isn't. It's doing just fine. But we're going to jump back into the time lapse and get to the next milestones here. We actually have our first natural collapse, which is interesting. I'm not 100% sure why she decided to collapse. She has multiple arteries damage, hemorrhage, and hypervolemic shock. We're just going to let the doctors do their thing. She'll be sent to the ICU and treated. We do have the one ICU bed, which is all we need currently, unless someone else decides that they are going to collapse. She is now getting all of the emergency care blood transfusions that she needs, and that should be good. She's also going to pay us $4,000 if we manage to treat her correctly. She should soon be scheduled for a fractured surgery of her leg, and that should be good. We are coming up on 100 patients for the day, which is fantastic. That should pop any second now. And that is going to give us a nice $100,000 government grant, which is going to allow us to pay back all of our loan. We've only got $40,000 left. So we'll actually have finally some money in the bank. And then once this pops as well, we should have enough money to start building out our next department. So yeah, 123,000 in the bank. We're going to pay back our loan to zero. We've had a very, very, very profitable day in the orthopedic department with $62,000 in profit so far. That will dip down a little bit once we hit 8 o'clock at night, just because we have to pay our doctors, but that is fine. I'm going to jump through till midnight and we'll check on our budget, check on how everything else is going in here, and call the episode there. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, coming up to midnight here, we've treated 107 patients for the day. We are ending the day with $264,000 in the bank because we did reach Prestige 95% at any specialized department, giving us a cool $200,000. Unfortunately, patient numbers and insurance payments are back to normal, so we're losing out on that 30%, but let's have a look at the budget for yesterday. 17 grand in emergency, $57,000 in orthopedics, and 5 grand in sexual health, within a cool almost 3 grand with our administrative department, with our gift shop and pharmacy. So that is all looking very, very nice. We now have enough money to start working on our next department. I do need your help to decide what that is going to be. I'm very much considering urology and nephrology, even though I'm not 100% sure that is how it is pronounced. So please do let me know in the comments what you think our next department should be, or just leave a comment for the sake of engagement. If you are enjoying this series, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to be in the game, go ahead and jump on that Golden Panda level membership, and we'll go ahead and add you in as soon as that happens. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks so much for hanging out. But until next time, happy building and happy doctoring. Bye, guys.